Okay, it's the Tuesday show. Back now, we're talking about the Capcom Pro Tour.
Yes, this was just announced yesterday. That apparently...
Was it only yesterday? Wow.
It feels longer, doesn't it?
It kind of does, yeah. It's been a lot to talk about.
Capcom and Twitch are teaming up together to create what they are calling the Capcom Pro Tour. And what this is basically means is that they are going to, collaborate with a lot of the tournaments in the FGC that we already know and love. And, they're going to be spiking the pots for Street Fighter 4. I believe they
at
mentioned,
least 2,000.
Yeah, 2,000.
They did say that they'd like to increase that in the future, but for now, it's going to be 2,000.
Okay. And as you go to all these events, you'll get points for winning and placing in these tournaments, and this will add up together to the final 16 that will show up at the Capcom Cup basically in December like we had last year.
Right, so that's still the ultimate goal is the Capcom Cup. But if you recall for Capcom Cup last year, for Street Fighter for the qualification was kind of last minute, and in fact some were retroactive. And in Marvel, it was Marvel and Cross Tekken could be there in the future anyway. But it's just Street Fighter, and so they have now a new way of doing it. It's going to be via qualifications, and I'm not sure exactly how the qualification process works, but through these various tournaments.
Yeah, and it's not even just tournaments. Like I think
Right.
they mentioned it was also going to be like trade shows.
They did say
and
trade
stuff
shows.
like that, right?
Yeah.
And this includes overseas. So apparently there's I think 7 premier events right now, and they're looking to add more premier events. I think the list is right there, somewhere in there. But these premier events, I'm assuming, are going to be getting the most points. And these are taking place all around the world, too, because I know we have, like, Southeast Asia's include the Southeast Asia.
And DreamHack.
Yeah, that's right.
In Europe, which is cool. And as far as the non-tournaments, it's going to be at E3, PAX East, and Comic-Con in San Diego.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so this is going to be taking place all year long. Capcom is, basically now going headlong into this competitive gaming stuff. I mean, how does that make you feel? I mean,
pretty sweet. It's great.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think this means, though, for the fighting game community and such?
It's almost entirely positive. I mean, it's it's great. It's great to get more developer publisher support. Capcom has been ramping that up in the last couple of years. There have been a couple of Capcom Cups now, 25th, and then Capcom Cup, and then now is even past that. So I'm really happy to see that they must think that there is some value in doing this, because this is not the first time that they're doing it. It's already the 3rd year.
Yeah. And I mean, even the Ultra trailer that came out, I mentioned before, has tournament footage in it.
Right.
So they're definitely embracing this. And, a lot of people, may think that, it's still kind of starting smaller, but this is like, Final Round's been 17 years now. I mean, it takes time. And the fact that they've been doing this consistently now for 3 years, I think is a huge thing. And it's just, and as long as it keeps succeeding, it's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And, I'm super excited for what the future holds for competitive, gaming and fighting games. So
yeah, I really hope too that it's that other companies follow suit.
Right.
There have been other things, NRS put in a lot of money for the Mortal Kombat Championships, and there's Sega doing it.
Oh yeah, second year they're doing the Virtua Fighter tournament this
exactly,
year.
Yeah, and there have been a couple of others. I'd love to see them more frequently. I'd love to see them integrate with existing tournaments in the way that Capcom is doing. That has a couple of really strong advantages. One is very obvious, and it's that from our perspective, the community is not eclipsed by by the corporate, which is something that I know everybody is always worried about. And the other is that you don't have to make your own thing. You can just hitch yourself to an existing event. It's tougher for example, I went to the Mortal Kombat 9 Championship in Vegas because I was really into the game at the time, and there were fewer people than at a major.
Gotcha.
There was infrastructure that they had to set up. They had to get all this stuff going, and if you instead join up forces with an existing big tournament. That tournament has already, the final round, for example, already has a ton of people know about it.
Right.
It has all sorts of publicity. Lots of top players are already going to be there. Lots of just regular community members are already going to be there.
Larry said already 250 pre-registrants, right?
So it's going to already be a big thing, and I think those two advantages are really smart.
Yeah, and adding $2,000 to the pot is great. You said that they're looking to make it larger.
Yeah, that's what
if it succeeds next year, it's going to get bigger. The budget for it is probably going to get bigger.
Nice.
And I know that a lot of the people behind this, like Dahlgren, Matt Dahlgren, Combo Fiend, of course, Peter Rosas, Hans Nidell, Krisen.
Yeah.
And I'm sure, I'm hoping that Capcom Japan is watching this very carefully too, right? Obviously, they're involved. Ono was at the Capcom Cup last year and such like that. But
Sure.
As this keeps getting bigger and bigger, maybe Capcom Japan will think more about the competitive scene when they're designing, hopefully a Street Fighter V or whatever like that. And they could think about building in competitive gaming tools into the game and such like that.
That would be awesome.
Dude, it's the fact that it's just getting more attention, Twitch being partnered up with it, it's going to get a lot more press this way and stuff like that. So, I don't know. I think it's overwhelmingly positive.
Yeah, it's great that the people that you mentioned are there, because you have to think that that's a major reason why this has happened for a few years in a row now.
Yeah.
There must have been some other changes internally in Capcom to bring those people in the first place.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what the office politics are or whatever, but each of those guys has a long record in the fighting game community. Matt played Smash, and Combo Fiend played everything, and same with Nidell. So they have a really long-term history in the FGC, and I'm really happy to see that they're kind of bringing it back to the community now. Yeah. I'd love to see that from others, and I mentioned yesterday on Twitter how it seems like there are lots more fighting game community people who are in developers and publishers now.
Yeah.
Some have created their own things. Obviously, Lab Zero is an example. Iron Galaxy, all those guys play fighting games.
Right. Killer Instinct,
yeah.
Right.
Double Helix, a lot of those guys played fighting games. That was basically a fighting gamer made game. And that's awesome. And even apart from that, on the PR side, I also want to lump in NetherRealm with the previous one.
Yeah, for sure.
People involved in QA and game design.
Dude, one of the guys that I know at NetherRealms was one of my friends at Southern Hills Golfland. We used to play fighting games way back then. Yeah, Mike, exactly.
Yeah, Zug. Sure. Great example. But even apart from the development side, in the publicity side, it's the same thing. So, Combo Fiend. I guess now he is involved with the gameplay design. But originally he was the community manager.
Yeah.
That was Seth's role there. He was also gameplay designer. Filthy Rich was with Namco. Now with Double Helix. Yep. So there are lots of people nowadays, and I hope that has been a success. And it seems like it's been a success.
Yeah.
And I hope that success means that other companies try the same thing out, that they hire somebody for whatever their position is with respect to fighting games from the fighting game community, because it's another easy way to have just a built-in advantage.
Yeah.
The person you're hiring knows about fighting games and how they play. If they're on the game design side, they know all about how fighting games play. If they're on the advertising PR side, they know people in the community already. They know what the important things are to advertise at, how to advertise.
Yeah, and it's interesting because kind of like this vision, like a future vision, I would even like to see. So like Sega's throwing the Sega Cup that we mentioned that's coming up, right? I would love to see Namco do like the Namco event, where it's just like Tekken and Soul Calibur,
awesome.
right? Specifically their games or whatever like that. Just like the Smash community, they run their own events, right? They don't need just this last weekend, ROM 7 took place, right? And that was I think that was a purely Smash tournament there. Each community can run their own thing, but then combine together for the premier events like Final Round, like CEO and stuff like that, and not fight each other at the events. In fact, I'd almost like to see a friendly competition between the different companies. Like Capcom would be like, we're putting $2,000, and NetherRealms is like, you know, we're gonna put $2,500. And
that'd be awesome.
Then Namco's like, we're gonna put $3,000. You know,
for sure.
You know, just like as a kind of like a way to kind of keep everybody upping their games. You know what I mean? So yeah, Capcom Pro Tour definitely great sign of things to come. So
yeah, so like I said, overwhelmingly positive. I know there are some critiques, for example, that it's very USA heavy in terms of the events, and that is true. So far, it's just DreamHack that's been announced in Europe. They did say that they want to get more.
Right.
I mean, hopefully, some of the ones that they're thinking about are in Europe or maybe in East Asia.
Well, we did say that there was Southeast Asia.
Southeast Asia is one, yeah. You know, it'd be nice to get more. But, you know, a big reason for that, well, a couple of them. One, this is Capcom USA doing it. It's not Capcom Japan doing it or Capcom Europe. But even on top of that, there are lots of people in the U.S. and there are already existing tournaments in the U.S.
Right, exactly.
And I have to think that that's a major part of it.
And let's face it, last year there weren't enough U.S. events. You remember we had one American player
true, actually, yeah.
last year, right? So you know, we're still trying to figure it out.
Hopefully some of those events from East Asia come back.
Yeah.
Would be great to see.
I mean, frankly, someone not from Asia was supposed to qualify for Brazil.
Oh, that's right.
But Sako went down there,
that's
and Sako took that one and was like, nope, sorry.
That's right.
I'm going to take this tournament too.
That's right.
So, yeah.
Then the other critique that I've seen is that having all of Street Fighter on one channel kind of diminishes the choice or the variety of games that can show up on stream.
Okay.
So all of Street Fighter is going to be on all the pools.
Capcom Fighters.
On right. Capcom Fighters, exactly. Like Larry was saying, Team Spooky is still going to have all the other stuff, and there's Combat Network and Funky P and et cetera. But, you know, I think it might be the case that, you know, maybe Spooky now that he can't show Street Fighter anymore, maybe he just wants to show Marvel. Maybe he doesn't want to, like, show Blaze Blue or, you know, whatever other games, because he wants to get things, games on that have, like, the ratings, essentially, that Street Fighter had, but that they don't have access to anymore. So, you know, I think that is kind of a fair critique, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a fair critique, but I do want to point out that Nidell, a.k.a. Hans, has definitely said that they want very hard to work with the people who are already involved in the community. In fact, he said that they are already planning to get Vic Spooky to stream some events. So, you know, Nidell, he's a streamer himself. He used to stream for iPlayWinner, so he streams a lot for Capcom Fighters. There may be some events, I guess, maybe he can't get to, and they'll probably just get Spooky to do it anyway, right? So, I'm sure Spooky will get something for that. So, you know, it does work out, kind of.
I think it's great that they're doing that, and that definitely does address some of that concern. The other one is just that I think it's more important to have this than to not have it. That downside is, even if that's a legit downside, I don't think that it outweighs all of the awesomeness that this brings in.
Yeah, I mean, we've always said that we just need the company to get involved. We've always talked about League of Legends being different because Riot's involved and such, right? Yeah. And Blizzard's involved in StarCraft and such. You know, the fact that Capcom's getting involved, you know, could bring some pause, you know, like, oh, what happens to Spooky? But they specifically, in all their interviews and press releases, mention Spooky's name. They mention all this.
Community is very important.
And in fact, they even retroactively are saying Level Up's SoCal Regionals is getting points for the Capcom Pro Tour.
Okay.
So they just weren't in time to get it all set up, but the players who won in that tournament, who qualified and stuff like that, are going to get points. So they're very aware of everything. It's run by Combo Fiend and Hans. I mean, and Matt Dahlgren, right? These guys know. These guys know. They're not clueless about our community.
Absolutely.
And they're totally fighting for us. So, you know, we've had long conversations with Matt, Nidell, and Peter before in the past. You know, just
all really good guys.
Events. And dude, that's all they want to do is just make this as big as possible for the community. So yeah, I'm very very excited.
I think it's great. I'm really happy. I'm really excited to be there at Final Round this weekend.
That's right.
To do it.
Yeah,
we're going to be commentating for Street Fighter for Final Round.
Yeah, so basically that's probably all we're going to commentate all weekend long, you know?
Yeah, right. So since we're going there just for Street Fighter, if we have any time, I would really like to do, like, Atlanta has a really good Injustice scene in there. Some people coming. I'd love to do some of that, or at least just sit there and watch. But, you know, obviously it's work, so we're going to go there and do what we got to do. But
I just want to, I'm hoping I can find time to sneak off and play some Super Turbo, because I want to, because the Final Round's going to be another Tournament of Legends qualifier, right? So I definitely want to get involved with that. So, yeah, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. So.
You know, I forgot to talk about this when Larry was on, but Ultra Street Fighter 4 is going to be at Final Round.
It's going to be playable, right?
Yeah, it'll be playable for those 3 days. So I hope I get some chances with that. You know what? I can't believe we didn't take any footage of Ultra for, like, I was there playing for like 2 hours or 3 hours.
Were we allowed
at
to?
SCR. I saw people doing it. Maybe we weren't. I don't know. But I didn't even think about it.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it either.
Which is crazy to me in retrospect. I don't know how I blanked on that. I really want to get some footage of that if we can. Obviously, I'm not going to do it if we can't.
Well, Larry is still on stream, and he's saying that they're going to have an old school arcade setup over there.
Well, maybe he'll also let us know if we can record Ultra if he knows about that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. But yeah, dude, Final Round's going to be exciting. Part of the Capcom Pro Tour, again, as we mentioned. 5th character, hopefully, and, you know, is what will be announced over there. And, dude, I'm just like, yeah, lots of good stuff coming down the road. And, you know, I believe SoCal Regionals, between all of its streams, broke 40K total.
Yeah, it had like 45.
Yeah, which they said was the record for a non-Evo fighting game tournament.
Yeah, just the finals day on the one stream was 45 and a half.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, yeah, I mean...
Oh, no recording, it turns out.
Oh, okay, no
Ultra
recording,
SF4,
no recording. Okay,
fair enough.
But, dude, like, you know, there's been a lot of doom and gloom going around. People saying, like, oh, fighting game community is dying, whatever.
Right,
yeah. Dude, like... The Pro Tour announcement, and even before that, like I said, just the success of SCR and everything like that, I only see it growing at this point. I only see it going up. So
yeah.
It's super exciting time to be.
It's such a good year. There's this Pro Tour thing. There are all these big majors. There are a bunch of games that have come out or are coming out, or just came out like right before the start of the year.
And
there's at least like 80 Access games coming out.
Yeah, exactly.
Like every game is being made for them right now. So
shoutouts to Broken Tier, but you know it's a good year to be a monster, dude.
Yeah, it is. It's a good year to be a player. It's a good year to be a tournament organizer or a commentator or a streamer or just somebody who enjoys fighting games. Just in any respect, it's a good year, I think.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. Well, I mean, is there anything else you want to say about the Pro Tour?
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Then I guess we'll take a little quick break and then we'll come right back. Talk about other goings on in the fighting game community. So